The major difference was that the armed guards pointed their gun in at us and not out. However, we made the best of it. We tried to maintain a normal life within the barbed wire fence. We helped the camp director administer the camp, and there were many departments, such as health, food, security, education, social activities, and so we were hired to help in these various departments. We were paid $19, $16, and $12, depending on your responsibility. So we worked 5 days a week, and also on Saturdays we had sports. You played baseball, basketball, played bridge, and so forth. And in the evening we had dances, and on Sundays we went to the church. So you can see we try to maintain a normal life as best we can within the barbed wire fence. In January 1943, as Terry had mentioned, Army War Department authorized the formation of the 442nd. And so they asked for volunteers from Hawaii and from the camps. And so when the recruiters came to my camp, I was among the first to volunteer. And as I said, I want to prove that I was a loyal American. And also, I felt that this was the only way to get my family out of the camp. So we were sent to Camp Roberts, California for our basic training. And after 1 year of training, General George Marshall reviewed us and said, "You are ready for combat duty." So we were sent to Hampton Roads, Virginia, and we boarded the ship, Liberty ship, and headed east across the Atlantic Ocean for 28 days. Are we okay?
Thank you, Joe.
And so we landed in Naples, and we were assembled in Italy, and we were assembled in Naples, and we headed north, and the 100 Infantry Battalion joined us as the 1st Battalion of the 442nd Combat Team. We entered combat in June of 1944, attached to the 34th Division. We fought for 3 months, pushing the Germans northward to the Arno River. On September 1944, we were sent back for rest and replacements. And when the replacements came, we were transferred to 7th Army for combat duty in France. So we boarded the ship at Naples and landed in Marseille, France. And we headed north for 600 miles to the.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, that's fine.
I mentioned earlier that we had only 3 Japanese Americans serving in the U.S. Air Corps as gunners. I need to make one slight correction, and that is that there was one Japanese American before the war in the Air Corps Reserve serving. He was a pilot. He was already a pilot, and when Pearl Harbor came, he knew his days were numbered. So his name is Nishimura, and with the name Nishimura, he knew that he would not last long in the Air Corps. And so what he did was he changed his name legally to Westdale. Nishi for West, Dale, and Mura for Dale. And so, and today, he goes by that name. Well, soon after he changed his name, he was tapped on the shoulder, and he was removed from duty and assigned to KP duty to clean the stoves. He eventually ended up in the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. I'd like to move to another question, and the question is, gentlemen, when you were in combat, what motivated you? What kept you going? I'd like to ask Kelly to make some comments on that.
As I said, I came from a background in New York City of immigrant people, many of them descendants of Italians or Germans. And so therefore, the question of loyalty to the United States was more or less an accepted fact. We, in the public schools in New York City, and certainly in the lower grades, we started our day with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the flag for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. So my loyalty was derived from that statement, and I said that to any visiting Japanese who asked me what my loyalty. Now, in combat, as I recall, and Joe Ichuji mentioned this when he went into Italy, we went into the lines above Rome. And as I recall going into the lines, we met no resistance in the beginning. There's daylight, more or less, in early morning. But during the night, we had heard some fire. And then we crossed a bridge. And I saw one end of the bridge, 2 Germans, and the other end of the bridge, 2 Americans. They were all dead. And that led me to the feeling that this is equal combat there. But these were both young men, and they were my age. And I felt that we had to fight. And they had already fought. And so my feelings were that we had to go forward. I was scared going up to the lines. And I said, well, this is it. And so we continued up, and that day, Captain Ensminger was killed by artillery fire. He was commander of the 2nd Battalion, and he was from Hawaii. He was classmates of many of the men in the 442nd from Hawaii. They held him in the highest respect. And then we were hit. And then from then on, I was so engaged in what to do next, or the feeling of these shells coming in, mortar fire, machine gun fire, that you have no feeling of, well, being scared. One, you're too busy. Second, your willingness to combat, you just obey orders, and you just go forward. And for me, I was a medic. Whenever the word medic came up, well, I'd run forward and flash my Red Cross flag. And the Germans respected that. And they did not shoot me at that time in Italy. And we would take hill after hill. We were in constant combat. And we would take some casualties on each hill. And then we would take the hill with our superior artillery. And I would pick up the wounded, or the main thing was to stop the bleeding, to put on tourniquet, to put the bandage on there, and sprinkle sulfur powder into the wound, and then the litter squad to take him away. But